Hey guys, welcome to the Movie Goers podcast. My name is Jordan. You can find me on all socials at Jordy B Writing,
And I'm Darius. D's all up in the area on all socials.
and we'll be reviewing the movie Her. This came out in 2013, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Scarlett Johansson, Amy Adams, Rooney Mara, Olivia Wilde, and Chris Pratt. Her is about a near future Los Angeles, where lonely Theodore Twombly develops a deep emotional relationship with Samantha, an advanced intuitive operating system. Their connection evolves into a complex romance exploring themes of love, loneliness, and the evolving nature of intimacy in a technologically advanced world. So I'm gonna toss it to you so you can tell them why we picked this movie.
Well, male loneliness is like a trendy topic these days. A couple books have been written on it. A couple of scholars have gone viral for talking about it. So this movie gives us an opportunity to expound upon that in a way that, fits with the theme of the pod. So Act One is the introduction of Theodore's world. This act establishes the near future setting highlighting the prevalence of advanced technology and its integration into daily life. I just want to say the first time I saw it in the theaters when it first came out. I thought the timeline was a bit unrealistic in how fast he like fell in love with the robot. I no longer believe that to be true. And I also want to say this movie came out in 2013 on some Jetson shit, and most of that tech is normal now. So that's the
Yeah,
movie got dated really fast because this is supposed to
it
be like a
did.
futuristic shit, and it didn't. It just most of that tech has come out. So
Time caught up so quick. This movie was insane.
it's only 12 years old, and it was
Everything is true.
for the audience in the crowd, like it was when it came out, it was meant as like some futuristic, far-grown Jetsons type shit, and it's
Right.
just not that anymore. So toss it to you, man. What you got?
Yeah, so honestly, well, first out again, another great movie with writer director. Shout out to
Yeah.
Spike Jonze. This actually was his first full screenplay that he's written originally.
And you got
So I
Joaquin
think that
Phoenix
was
for it? Okay.
yeah, shit, and ScarJo. So first observation, Scarlett Johansson and Joaquin Phoenix's vocal performance. I mean, their acting was incredible as always,
Yeah.
but their vocal performance was fucking insane. Like, because remember, like Scarlett Johansson, she's only you only hear her voice. She's in a
Yeah.
booth recording in the studio, and it sounds like she's there, and she's reacting to everything in real time, and it's the inflections are perfect, the intonation is great. The breathing, the pauses,
Yeah.
the exhaustion, the exhilaration, the hesitation, the anxiety. You feel everything that you would
You
you're
feel like
supposed to
she's in the
feel
room
from an
with you.
actor. And yeah, you just feel like she's in the room with you. It doesn't feel like no shade. It doesn't feel like Siri. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it feels like it's everything she says is very personalized and very back and forth. So I thought that was super cool.
I agree wholeheartedly. It feels like she's in the room with you, and I
Yeah.
find that it's easy to think the premise of the movie is ridiculous, and then you see how she's literally responding to all of his needs.
Yes.
She's like calling him when he's feeling lonely, and she's
Hmm.
laughing at his jokes because she can tell that's what he needs, and
Yeah.
you can see how a man already predisposed to fall in this way would fall in this way. So
Right.
um I want to say that I am pretty much anti-robot relationships as most people are, but the personal assistant stuff has a lot of utility.
No,
Like
no,
it's like
facts.
like the way she cleaned out his inbox I need, I need an AI to
Oh,
do
hey,
that.
listen.
Delete
Even
all
the
this
way
junk.
the way she edited all his letters, where she was
Yeah.
like, "I'll just fix all these for you right now."
Yeah.
Um,
Do you use
Also
a
in this,
large language model AI, ChatGPT, Google Gemini, any of those?
I use Chat GPT to make the first cover art for like
Yeah.
our socials and
Yeah.
stuff. Other than that, I haven't really used any of it very much. I mean, I guess when you Google now, it's got the first AI thing, but other than that, not so much.
I love Google Gemini, man. And like I see you see online a lot of people are being Luddites about it. And it's like, here's the thing, man. It's coming, whether you like it or not. Large language
Yeah,
models and AI, the version that exists today is already the worst version that'll exist. Like it's only
correct.
going to get better. And the
Yep.
thing is, it's not a matter of how much it disrupts your life, your job, whatever.
Hmm.
I mean, it's not a matter of if, it's how much. And either you
Yeah.
can embrace it and get ahead of your peers or get left behind. Because a lot of people I hear talking about, you guys use that and da 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 da, and all the
Yeah.
water it wastes. And it's like, look, man, y'all sound like old people in 1995 when the internet came out. Like it's not
It's here
it's
to
not a
stay.
it's you might as well embrace it.
It's going to be a part of your job, if not replace your
Yeah.
job. You got to learn the skill.
Because if the people we're in our 30s, so the people in their
Yeah.
30s in 1995 who embraced the internet, they thrived, and the people who
Yeah.
didn't are somewhere are somewhere in a bunker, like still still trying to start a fire with twigs. Like it's like Anyway, sorry for that tangent. You go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. I also want to say, so the opening sequence of him doing the first love letter, it as someone who's worked in call centers for years, it like
Yeah,
basically gave me like PTSD of just like the bing, hi, thank you for calling such and such. My name is Jordan. How can I help you today? And just like the remind me of all the pretty much voice acting you have to do as a customer service rep. So I thought that was pretty
my
cool
career
how it
started in the
took
call
something
center.
mundane. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I like how it took something mundane and then made it futuristic, where it's him talking to the computer to write his words, for the letters. I thought that was pretty cool.
Also, a technology we have now, text to type or type to text or whatever. That's
Yeah,
not
type to
like
text.
it's really
Yep.
easy. Like that's not even we got that in our
My
pocket
mom like
now.
exclusively uses that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
my
that ain't
mom uses that
even.
exclusively. Like it'll be like,
I mean, well, in 2000, this movie
um,
came out in 2013. iPhones are only 5 years old. I think iPhones came out in 20
yeah, they weren't
2007,
that.
so 5, 6 years old.
Yeah, oh
And
07. Yep.
they weren't, I mean, everyone had cell phones, but everyone didn't have a smartphone. So it's
Right.
like the technology, it's gone, we've come a long way in these 12 years. So,
Yeah, it
I
really
think in
has.
that year, I still had like my phone being on the internet was like a screen I had to go to use. It wasn't like always on the internet
Yeah.
like it is now. So,
Right.
you
Yeah, I
know,
think I had a little like at that point. I think I had the Samsung shit where it slid up and
yeah.
and out. Like I had you had the QWERTY with the little fucking
Oh, the
the
sidekick. It ain't
919
that. Yeah.
whatever.
I was on Google back
Yeah.
then. I never did iPhones, but the ubiquitous nature
Yeah.
of smartphones did not exist in 2013. So
True. Yeah, it wasn't the thing everybody had. Um. Also, it just because again, it just reminds us of all the technology we use today, like Siri and Alexa. Like the scene where he's on the bus home or the subway home, whatever. I think maybe it'd been train, where he's like,
when she was like, "You
play
want to see some
melancholy song.
titties?"
Oh no, I wouldn't that no, yeah, 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 where it's like play melancholy song.
Yeah.
Play a different melancholy song. And then it's like you got the alert where it's like, pregnant ladies, nudes leak online. He's like, yeah, I'll see that.
Kind of crazy, kind of wild to check that on one to be interested in that, and
In
two
public.
to check it on a crowded bus. It's like
Yeah.
naked pregnant women on the bus. It's gross,
Yeah,
man. Uh,
in public is crazy.
uh, yeah, it's a wild. He's a wild boy. What-
No, he's a freaky frog. I meant to put that in my notes. Yeah.
I have it here too. I
This
did
is
too. I
not
was like, when did this become a porno?
this
Like, what's
this
going on?
yo, just for the listeners, this is not a movie you can watch with your family.
No,
Like whatever you do, there's
I
like
live.
four phone sex scenes.
Yeah, like I live in an apartment and like I tend to turn the volume down. I don't want these people think like because it's just a dude talking.
Dog.
It's not even like porn. It's just like you just hear this nigga heavy breathing. And it's like, all right, man.
And a woman moaning on the other end of the
Yeah,
phone.
it's
Like
just
no, I had to mute my TV for that one. I was
like
like, I would sound crazy as hell. Somebody walking past hearing that. Like the scene where he's doing the phone sex with the first lady, and
yeah.
she's like, choke me with the dead cat. Like, what the fuck? That shit was insane.
He's a freaky nigga, man. Like yeah.
Freaky ass nigga, he a 69 god.
It's like Theodore Twombly. Great name. Great name.
Hey, run for your life.
I really did have in my notes like, when did I start watching a porno? Like, it's like, what is going on?
Yo, that
This
shit
is
was
weird.
wild.
It's
I,
go ahead.
I couldn't imagine. So this is my first time watching it actually. So I couldn't
Really
imagine sitting through those scenes in the movie theaters, dog.
painful because like the movie theater got dark and like
Yeah, it was dark
he's
and
just
pitch
huffing
black.
and puffing, and this was yeah, it was actually pretty. It was I went on a Saturday afternoon when
Mhm.
I lived in California, and it was pretty busy for a movie. This was back when people went to the movies, so it was
Yeah.
you know it was doing a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, that shit was insane.
What else you got for
Um,
Act One?
oh yeah, so another thing I have for Act One is Amy, played by Amy Adams.
Yeah,
Her husband, you could tell off rip he was a world-class tool. Like in the
yeah,
first scene where he's like, actually, You should just eat the fruit raw because the in a smoothie it takes away all the juices that gives all the. It's like, dude, I'm having a healthy dessert. Can you
Yeah,
shut up?
right. Yeah. Wasn't a fan of that guy.
Not
Um,
at all.
it was a the movie was a Joaquin Phoenix vehicle. The other people didn't really, I mean, and Scarlett Johansson. The other people didn't really have a
Yeah,
lot to do. So I stalled him out, but yeah, he didn't really do a good job with what he was given. So
true. Yeah, and also just even the scene where I think it might be in Act Two, but where they're watching her documentary, he's just like, really, that's what you're gonna do? Like, as a partner, you got to find a better way to
yeah,
word that.
true. That is true.
Um, yeah, we can go to Act Two.
All right, we
I
can
think that's all I
do
got for Act One.
Act Two. We're going to call the confrontation, and the relationship faces increasing challenges as Theodore and Samantha navigate the limitations and complexities of their situation. And I just want to say, the character is supposed to be a lonely guy who's out here struggling, but he sure seems to have access to a lot of attractive women.
Yeah,
His ex-wife was quite attractive. He goes on a blind date with Olivia Wilde.
Bruh,
Um,
and fumbled.
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's just again, it's the Hollywood thing where everyone's just way more attractive than they would be in real life. And I'm like,
Right.
it's we had this conversation with Forgetting Sarah Marshall, where like he's supposed to be a devastated loser and he fucks like five women in the first 2 minutes. So
Right. Yeah.
none of that adds up. But that was just my first. I just was sitting there watching, like, man, this guy really seems to be doing pretty
Yeah,
well to me. I don't know.
because he's really not down bad. He's got a fly ass apartment. He's
Fly
got
ass crib.
that shit. That apartment was cold.
And this was
Like if
supposed to be a
I
future San Francisco or something, right? I don't think they named the
uh
location, but it
yeah, they
looked
never
real
named the
San
location.
Francisco-y to me.
It did. I know. So they actually shot it in L.A. and in Shanghai, which is why it
Okay.
looks so futuristic because it was in China.
Yeah.
But yeah, that loft was cold as fuck. Like that shit was insane. Even the video game he was playing with the little 3D kid or
Yeah.
whatever, that was nuts. That was
That's
very
pretty much
Black
the
Mirror.
only tech in the movie that doesn't exist today. But even
Yeah,
VR headsets
yeah. I was about to
kind
say
of,
VR is
yeah,
pretty close.
yeah. So let me ask you this. What do you think, what would you say this movie is about?
Hmm, that's a good question. I think it's about a couple things. I think it is about our reliance on technology and
Yeah.
our, possible addiction to it. Um, but I also think ultimately it's just about it's not. I think really at its core, it really is. I mean, it sounds gonna sound cliche because it's a romance movie, but it really is a love story. Like,
Yeah.
it's got the ups, the downs, the rise, the falls, the synchronicity and the dissipation of love. But I also think it's about. So actually, I was gonna say this for Act Three, but I'll just say now. I think it's about human connection. Like it's about how
Yeah.
like we use technology and we say it separates us from people, but we don't try to connect with people.
Yeah.
Like
I
like
think,
the connection he wants is everywhere around him, but he's denying everyone around him because he's so obsessed with his technology.
yeah, I think honestly, it's our narcissistic desire for frictionless love. Like he wants
Mm,
companionship,
but he
but
doesn't want
companionship
difficulty.
with the human is messy. Like you're not going to find a wife
Yeah,
that's going to intuitively respond in perfect ways programmed by your algorithm
yeah,
to, like you're
that's
going to
very
in
true.
real life
Yeah.
you're going to tell a joke that falls flat. Samantha laughs at all
Hmm.
his jokes. And
Yeah.
like I think that stuff builds character though and builds a deeper, connection. And I
Hmm.
worry that people, because again, these LLMs and these AIs are coming, and it's very easy to just like we've replaced going to the movies with sitting on a couch and watching a movie. It's the
Hmm.
same act, but it's not the same experience. And I think that like
Right.
we're creating more and more ways for people to have the things that they want brought to their front door. And I just don't think that's good
Yep.
for people. And this idea that you're gonna fall in love with this robot that literally does just sits around catering to you every day, every time you call it answers. You know,
Hmm.
every time you ask it a question, it says yes. Every time you want to have sex with this thing, it's cool. Like there's no friction there. And then
Right.
to the extent the friction exists, it exists in a way that still caters to you because it's designed for you. And a real
Right.
human,
So
no human being on this earth is going to fit you like a glove like that. And
correct.
everything good to you isn't good for you. In the same way that like sitting on your couch is more convenient, but getting to the gym makes you feel better. And I just don't, I don't, I
Yeah.
don't, That's my take. For lack, I don't know how to
So
explain
okay,
that for it.
let me ask you this then. So do you think he wanted to be loved, or do you think he wanted to be served?
I think he wanted to be worshipped. I guess to answer your question, to be served. So
Yeah.
I don't think anyone. I used to make the joke a bit flippantly, but somewhat seriously that like dogs have become a life hack for people who want companionship without any like comfort, like without the thing having needs outside of feed me and give me water. But other than that, I'll
Yeah.
worship you. And like
Yeah.
this is beyond even like a dog. Like this literally doesn't even need
Right. Yeah.
fed or nothing. Like you don't have to take this for a walk.
You don't have
Like
to do anything. You don't have to provide anything. It's not a
no.
reciprocal relationship.
Like when people say all the time, like I like dogs more than people, and I always answer, well, I'm not a dickhead, but I think in my head, like I don't think you were given a choice. I think that I think people
I
just
think
didn't
the
like
dog liked you
you,
more.
right? I think people didn't like you, and your life hack
Yeah.
is to buy a dog and say, oh, I don't like people because my dog, but like this is even
Yeah.
worse, and I just, I think I don't, I think it, I think he's a narcissist, and I think the computer fed his narcissism.
Mm.
And to answer your question, yeah, he didn't want to be he didn't want love. He wanted worship. He wanted to be served. He wanted something that just never like
Yeah.
his ex-wife
Interesting.
was friction, that ended for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they said it in the movie, but
Yeah. We didn't get a lot of context on the relationship.
correct. She left him for some reason. At the end of the day, every breakup is you're no longer good enough for me. And whether the reason is behind that, and so like he
Yep.
didn't want that feeling again. He went for a computer. So yeah, that's to answer your question.
That's a good
What do
point.
you think?
I did not look at it that way. In terms of why they broke up, or like,
Answer your own question. Do you think he wanted to be loved, or do you want to think he wanted to be served?
I think he wanted to. I think he wanted to be loved in order to feel served.
Okay, that makes sense.
Or sorry, I think he wanted to be. Let me phrase that. That's backwards. I think he wanted to be served in order to feel. He need to be served in order to feel loved. Like okay, like for example, there's love languages. There's acts
Yeah.
of service, gift giving, quality touch or quality time, physical touch, so on and so forth. I think his love
Everyone's
languages
love
was
language is buy me things and fuck me. Those are
right.
it's literally
So his
everyone's
love
love
language.
language.
Right.
Like,
Actually, he said it in the movie. He was like, I just want someone who wants to fuck me. Like,
yeah,
and I think his love language was
it's
clearly
awfully
quality time
convenient.
and acts of service.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Well, let me ask you this:
And I'd
Do
like
you
to
think
know
he's?
what he was.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'd be interested to know how he would show love in a traditional relationship, in a 3D relationship, if you will.
With a real life human.
Yeah, with a person. Yeah.
So, do you think his love for Samantha was real?
um, I think yes, because I believe you can love from a broken place. So I think he was operating from a place of lack, and though it was not healthy, and though it was codependent, he did love her.
I would agree. I think he did love her. I think for all the wrong reasons, but I do think his love for
Yeah,
her was genuine. Um,
yeah.
I mean, he was just like running around the mall talking to his phone.
In public, that's crazy.
He brought her on a double date, which is where the movie started to lose me a little bit. It was like, okay, I understand why he would be in on this delusion, but the idea that his friends would be like, "Hey, man,
I
what?
know.
What do you mean? What? You're
No,
dating a
my
computer?"
one of my favorite scenes was when he told his ex-wife she signed the divorce papers, where he's like, "Yeah, I'm seeing someone, her name's Samantha, da 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 da. She's an OS, she's really cool." And his wife was like, "Hold up, what?"
The only
She
sane
was like, "You're
person in the
dating your
movie.
computer?" Yeah, she was like, "You're dating your computer?"
It's funny though because like
Um,
there's this I was literally reading this New York Times article about this woman who fell in love with ChatGPT and
mhm.
ChatGPT is nearly as advanced as Samantha, but like ChatGPT doesn't even allow you to do
Right.
have sexual conversations, but she like went on Reddit and found a hack to talk to this thing and like she was in love with it.
Hmm.
She was to the point where she was like subscribing, paying like $300 a month for the advanced ChatGPT. And like the way it works is
It's
after
really sad.
every like 6 weeks, GPT like erases like you build a rapport with it and you're going back
Oh,
and forth, da
okay.
da 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 da. But like it just the
Yeah.
memory of it isn't advanced enough. So 6 weeks it just wipes and you start over like you met it again for the first
Right.
time. And she like cried and shit when it was like
Got
wiped.
you. Okay.
So like as silly as the
That's
movie seems,
insane.
we're getting there. We're getting
No, yeah, we are. I do. It's even the shit with the robots, where they're some of them are going to be made for sex or something like that. That's what I see on Twitter. I don't know if it's really not, but we're getting towards that iRobot
We're
stage of
getting
society,
there.
which is pretty
Sci-fi
scary.
isn't so fiction. So
It's just sci now. There's
yeah,
no
it's
fiction
just
here.
sci. And they're so good, man. The other day I put into I think if I put into Google Gemini, I was like, recap a Feast of Crows, the book in 500 words. And like 10
Mhm.
seconds later, it was done. And it told me everything that happened. And you can do 1,000 words. I was like, one day I was
Yeah.
like, give me Franklin Pierce's biography. I think he was the 19th president of the United States, one of them, 18th or 19th,
Mhm.
in 1,000 words. And like, I had a pretty good understanding of it. Do I have as much of an understanding as if I went and read his book, his biography?
Right.
No. But like
Yeah.
in 10 seconds, you're able to
Shit, that's crazy.
scratch the whole internet and give me 1,000 words on an obscure president and it makes sense. Like that
And
was,
that's literally what Samantha did in the movie, where he was
yeah,
like, what's that book about? And he was like, she was like, oh, I read it in point one
yeah,
second. Like,
yeah. Because it's just it has every Reddit post, every da 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 da, and it just compiles it instantly. And that's why, it takes so much
yeah.
computing power because it's just processing all of this information so fast.
Hmm.
That's why when people like, they say that it's one thing to say the technology it makes you uncomfortable, da 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 da.
Right.
You don't like you could say it's plagiarism because it's taking everything other people have written online. And I agree with you there.
Correct.
I agree. I understand the uncomfort. But when people say there's no use to it, it's pointless. I'm like, you clearly haven't used these things.
That
Like to say that there's no use, I can
no,
put in there,
yeah.
give me an Excel formula for da 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 da, and in 10 seconds it'll like to
Hmm.
say there's no
It's
way you say it's useless. It just you're not using it if you
right.
think that's true.
Yeah, it's like that the scenes from Iron Man where he's got the in his lab where he's got like the 3D screen shit where he's kind of
Yeah.
doing the thing with his hands.
Yeah.
Basically, you just do that, but we're just typing. Like it literally, when I made the cover art, I was just like the first one we did. I was like, okay, red and gold,
Yeah.
less red, more gold, more trim. Put in movie theater symbols.
Yeah.
Put our names in here. Put headphones. It was just like that.
Yeah, it was
It's
I
very very intuitive.
yeah, it was just I can even like simple questions that Google used to answer, but you don't like I could put in Google Gemini, I'll be like,
Hmm.
you know, in what chapter did Rob get knighted King of the North? And it'll be like the answer was Caitlin 11 and Game of Thrones, the first book, when they go King of the
Hmm.
North. And like just like how like that just having that at your fingertip in that second is so useful for like research. Like if you
Yeah.
don't need to skim through the whole Game of Thrones book, or if I'm writing something about Game of Thrones, I need to know what chapter that is, and it has it to me in 10 seconds. So,
Hmm.
anyways, what do you have? We are way off topic. What do you have for Act
Yeah,
Two?
we did. So one thing I really love about this, really loved watching this movie was the score,
Yeah.
with like the piano and the arrangements. I thought I really, really loved those. So I actually looked it up. They were actually done by Arcade Fire.
Okay.
Um, the band, I don't know if you've heard of them or not.
I
They're pretty.
I spent enough time in clubs in Vegas. I'm sure they existed there at some point.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, also like the writing of this movie was really great. Like there are two lines that really, at least from Act Two, that stuck out to me were it's hard changing without scaring the other person.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the more realistic quotes about love I think I've ever read or heard. And then the line that Samantha says to Theodore, where she says, "The past is just a story we tell ourselves,"
Yeah. The three sides
which
of
is
every story, her side, his side, and the truth.
yeah, that was a great way to put perspective into perspective.
But that line, makes good sense where she's or whoever said, I forget, that it's hard changing. What can you repeat the first one? Changing something.
Yeah, changing without scaring the other person.
That's the beauty of AI. Can't be scared. It's just going to adjust to what you need it to say. Like in real
Right.
life, when you change, you have to explain that change to your. Oh, I'm into a podcast now, so on Tuesday nights I have to do this and that. You need to take the kids to da 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 da. That's a conversation you have to have with your spouse. It's not a conversation you have to have with Samantha.
Right.
Samantha would understand. Uh,
Yep. Samantha
like
would move everything to Wednesday.
correct. And but your wife is gonna be like, well, no, your kid has soccer and I got to do this and who's gonna cook
Yep.
and like these are conversations that you have to have. That's the friction of life, and that's what these things are trying to remove.
Correct.
And I just don't think that's good. So,
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Oh yes, what was I gonna say? Oh yes, I wanted to ask you. So, what would you say if I came to you and told you I was in love with my iOS?
I would to have a serious conversation. After the initial chastising, I would be deeply concerned. It's just something is
Like
so
everyone's just like, "Oh, that's cool."
yeah, and that again. That's why I said it lost me. They went on that double date, and I'm like, I just don't see well-adjusted adults taking this news because I wouldn't even believe you at first. I would be like, what do you mean?
Right.
Like, yeah, you use Google Gemini. It's helping you with this research project. But like you talk to it.
Yeah.
Like, is
Like,
you? Like, what do you mean?
like, like, nah, bro, the sex is crazy.
Yeah, like that's nuts.
That shit would be nuts.
Um, no, I would be deeply concerned because I don't think that a well-adjusted, healthy person with a thriving life would ever fall for one of these things. But they are getting very
Yeah.
good, and it makes me worry about the future. Did you have anything
Yeah.
else for Act Two?
Yes, I got a couple things for Act Two. I think for Theodore, I think Samantha was a placebo. She was like a metaphor I kind of came up with was she was like when a couple who's like on the verge of divorce
Yeah,
decides to try to have a baby, as if that's
yeah.
gonna like fix or save the marriage. Like it's like last ditch, like Hail Mary effort in this thing that like needs to end or needs to change. Like his like the life he was living, it needed to change. Like that was not a healthy life. He didn't have a social network. He didn't have friends that he was spending time with. So he probably may or may not have been reaching out to his ex. Yeah, I
I
don't know
mean,
how
he was
that
a
was
very
going.
lonely man. He was a very lonely
Yeah,
man. Um,
yeah,
and there are healthy ways to deal with loneliness, and there are unhealthy ways. And I think falling in love with a computer
true.
is a really unhealthy way.
So unhealthy.
Yeah.
My last point for Act Two was because we didn't talk about the scene where she had like the proxy girl basically come in to like have sex with him with the camera and microphone.
Yeah, that almost made me cut the movie off. I was like, "This is gross."
No, that shit was crazy. That shit was gross.
I was just
So it actually I came up with an interesting parallel. So the girl's name was Isabella, and I think Theodore in his work life played the role of Isabella for the couples he was writing the letters for.
okay.
And I thought it was kind of interesting that he was so freaked out by her being like the proxy lover essentially when it's like you're basically that slash Samantha for everyone that you're writing these letters for at work.
Yeah, I would just like to block that scene out of my mind.
No,
It was-
that shit was
Everything
nuts.
about it was weird, man. I was like, "What the fuck am I watching?" That shit that threw me off big time. Like basically, like it was like she's just talking, and the woman is just a
And
warm
she's like
body.
yeah, a mute or whatever. Yeah,
That
that shit
shit
was
was
nuts.
weird, man. All right.
Yeah,
Act
that...
three, the resolution. Samantha reveals that she and other OSs are evolving beyond human comprehension, indicating their impending departure. Gonna be honest, the movie kind of trails off for me here.
I'm not mad
Couldn't
at
really
that.
follow what was going on. Did Samantha did Samantha become sentient? What was going on here? Because I it lost me.
First, let me Google what sentient means, just to
Did
make
she
sure
become
make
like
sure I have it right.
intelligent? Like, did she become capable of,
Oh, yeah,
you know,
yeah, she
thought?
did. Yeah, she did. Remember, she was like, I'm feeling things that no one has ever felt before, so I have to like, so I don't have the words to express them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think she did pretty much. I think she basically had ascended to the height of intuitive technology.
that is a
And
genuine fear. A lot of there are AI scientists that beyond software engineer, like a true AI
mhm,
scientist who program these things, who work on these things, who genuinely believe they're going to lead to extinction. Because eventually, the saying goes that like you write the code to do something, and without the human element to it, it just seeks that resolution to an end. So if you say, you know,
yeah, yeah,
like it keeps chasing that perfect solution. What is it, iRobot,
it's
where
like
where the
yeah,
end it's like to save the Earth, you need to kill the humans, and like if a human
yeah.
was in charge, it'd be like, okay, but that's not an option.
That's
But the
not yeah.
robot doesn't. It's programmed to just do what it's
Right.
supposed to do.
It's like Thanos basically with the like
Yeah,
just
the snap.
resources finite. Everything's finite. Gotta
Yeah.
for the sake of humanity. Or even what's the other one? Ultron.
Yeah.
The other Avengers movie where it's like he takes in all this information from the world. He's like, oh, the best way to fix the world is to kill everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
And like it's not it's norm these people are crackpots, but it is not an
yeah,
unfounded like it's not a unusual thought that
right.
these things are already so good. And like the first
Hmm.
version that came out 2 years ago is already like the version today is already 10 times better, and they're only getting better as you feed it more and more information. And
Yeah,
we just do not know what these things are capable of. And
right.
there's it's not these things becoming sentient is not a rare thought. It's a genuine concern amongst a lot of AI scientists. So, but these are
That's
tech
scary.
heads.
That's scary.
These are tech heads, and they want to solve the puzzle. So they're not gonna
True.
stop. But
And that's kind of and that's sort of they program that into the computers in a way, either consciously or subconsciously, you know. Um so I guess we're going to so in act 3 that basically is it's kind of the withdrawal phase I'd
yeah,
call it, where like she's kind of slowly pulling away from him. It almost feels like an affair in a way, like the
you
whole
can
even with
feel it. You
the
can feel her. She's not answering as quick. They're
yep.
not talking as often. I mean, literally, just when your girl ain't feeling you no more, it's the
She's
same
ghosting him
difference. Yeah,
basically.
pretty much. And she calls him and she's just like, yeah, she breaks up with them, damn
She literally
near.
was like, "Let's go lay in bed. This
Yeah.
is over."
That's fucked up, man. Like he's so bad at
That
relationships, he couldn't even keep the computer happy. The computer designed for his any and every need, and
designed to
she
make him
still,
happy.
yeah, he still got dumped by the fucking computer.
Dog, that shit was crazy. Even like the way she the phrase the break where she was like, "It's like a book that you're almost done with, and the spaces are infinite between the words." And I was like, "That's a really nice way of saying this is over, and I want to leave."
Yeah, pretty much.
She's like, "I want to read more books."
Yeah, the world is my oyster, and you are no longer in it. So,
Yeah.
all right. So I have a closing question, but I want to close with it. So, you have anything else for Act Three?
Um. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, why do you think it never occurred to Theodore that there were other people that she was talking to and possibly like dating, quote unquote?
He's a narcissist. He just his
That's
world.
fair.
He doesn't consider anything beyond Theodore, like ever in the
True.
movie. So he just it never occurred to him that the world was bigger than him, and so it doesn't shock
Yeah.
me that he was totally blindsided by it because he just that's Theodore. I mean, I'd venture to guess if you talk to his ex-wife, she would say, "Yeah, it makes sense. That's Theodore." So I don't
Yeah.
think he saw it coming because he doesn't see a world bigger than Theodore.
That's true. I think in the movie when I watched it, she was the wife was painted to be or supposed to be painted to be the villain, but kind of reflecting and just even thinking about the dynamic with him and Samantha, I'm guessing he was trying to change her a lot, and that
Yeah.
probably led to a lot of the resentment that she felt towards him, which is why she was always snapping at him uh throughout the course of whatever the relationship was that we saw off screen or that
How
was
long
off
do you
screen.
think it was? What? How long do you think? How much time lapsed in between their fling?
Um,
The movie doesn't tell you, but I'm just
yeah, it doesn't
asking.
really. I mean, I would say I'd probably say like 4, 5 months, maybe
Yeah,
6.
yeah, I would say so.
Yeah,
So
definitely less than a year.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And like I just think that whoever her programmers were just got better as you get more information, and these
Hmm.
things have a compound effect. And he lost his girl.
Right. And the funny thing is, like the girl he ended up ended the movie with Amy. She was next door the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
granted, she was married, but you know,
that's the other. That's the one. One, the movie was too long, and two, they
yeah.
didn't. Theodore didn't have trouble with women. It just didn't make sense how much success he was having with women in the movie. It is supposed to be
Considering
a
his
lonely guy.
behavior,
Correct.
right?
It's Hollywood. I just was like, this guy in real life would not have these blind dates and these, he wouldn't even have the two friends that did exist, Amy and her dickhead husband.
Yeah.
Like real life dudes who are lonely enough to follow the AI bot, they're literally like they're incels basically. They don't
Yeah.
like they
I
don't
think
they're angrier, they don't have women,
correct.
it's a whole different thing. So that movie didn't actually reflect that in a good way, in my opinion. So
That's true. Yeah, I think they made his character too likable
yeah, for
to
sure, for sure.
for the situation he was
Yeah,
involved in, you
correct.
know.
I mean, we just recently saw Magazine Dreams. It would make much more sense if that guy fell in love with an
That
AI bot,
yes. Yeah.
so like, and so that's a much more fitting situation. Yeah, it just kept. That's what kind of threw me off. Is that I just again the character was too likable, and the things he were doing and the results he were getting just weren't adding up to me.
Yeah, that's true.
I
Oh, do you
agree.
have
Do you
anything
have
else
anything
for Act
else?
Three?
Did you have anything else?
Let's see. Oh, I will say I did love that in the end of the movie, he was finally able to they actually showed him being able to write something loving for himself,
Yeah.
aside from just him being Cyrano de Bergerac for other people that he was never meeting.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought that was a really nice
I
touch.
didn't like the ending just because I didn't think he would have had a happy ending. He was supposed the movie if the movie was consistent with the character, he would have been absolutely positively devastated by the breakup, and he would not
Yeah.
have gotten off the mat. Like it would have led him
Yeah.
to jump out that damn window. And he just kind of shrugs it off. I don't
Shrugged it
understand.
off.
Like
Yeah.
it's just like I said,
That's
the
true.
third act, the movie kind of loses me, and I we'll get to the rating in the end, but it kind of I lost the point. The whole third act just kind of just didn't make it. It didn't flow with the first two acts.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this, and does technology as depicted in the film bring people closer together or push them further apart?
As depicted in the film,
Yes,
I'd say it brings people it keeps people apart.
I agree.
Because like when he's walking through the street, everyone's their head is down, they've got their whatever their earpieces in.
Which
No
again is
one's
the real life now.
yeah, yeah.
I don't even think it's close. I think all of this stuff drives us further apart. Social media is a poorly named phenomenon because it makes us way less social.
It does. It's
It
very
gives
strange.
you thousands of
You're just looking at people.
yeah, I mean you get thousands of interactions with people fine, but none of it's meaningful, you know.
Right.
You might have 1,000 followers on Instagram, but you can't call any of them if your car breaks down. None of them can
Yeah.
go with you to the emergency room if you break roll your ankle at whatever. You
Yeah.
can't, borrow $20 from them when you need it to payday. Like it's just like
Hmm.
those are the connections that 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 make life worth living.
That last, yeah.
Yeah, and like we've
That's
replaced
true.
it with a bunch of people on our phone who, if you drop dead in
Watch
your
us.
apartment, they wouldn't know for a few days,
Yeah.
And it's like, again, you can't call any of those people. So I would
Yeah,
say
it's
it's not
just
even close.
double taps and story replies and emojis and shit. Like it just
Meaningless gibberish. That's why all my
yeah.
socials are locked. What do you rate this, man?
Uh it's funny. I thought a lot about the movie, but I actually forgot to think about the rating. So it's just off the top of the head right now. I would go. I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars. I think it was great storytelling. I love the color palette. Also, I forgot to mention the color grading, where like when it showed the scenes where he was happy, everything was brighter.
Yeah.
Versus when he was sad, everything was really dark and dreary. I thought that was a nice touch. Yeah, I'll give it 3.5 stars. It was a good movie. I enjoyed watching it, aside from a couple of those cringy scenes. But I think it's supposed to be weird because his life was so weird.
I had a four into Act Three. I'm gonna go with the three. It just didn't land the plane for me. But
Yeah,
well crafted movie, well done movie.
yeah,
I saw it when it first came out in theaters 12 years ago, and the second time I watched it was yesterday for the pod. So
yeah,
that kind of says it, did it have staying power? Probably not, but I enjoyed my time with it. 3 stars, it's good. I enjoyed it. All right. Thanks for listening. My name is Darius. That's D's all up in your area on all socials.
and I'm Jordan. Jordan be writing on all socials.
Please rate, like, subscribe. We are Moviegoers Pod on all socials. That is Moviegoers PD on Twitter. That is PD on Twitter.
And for any ongoing movie recommendations, reach out to us via email at moviegoerspod@gmail.com. That's moviegoerspod@gmail.com. Thanks for coming to the movies with us. Tune in next week. We'll be back reviewing another great movie. We're doing Silver Linings Playbook. That's a wrap.